What up, what up, what up, Fin fans? Welcome to another episode of the Fin Posse Podcast, brought to you by Game Changers Media. Oh God, will it not end? Will it not end the Tyreek Hill issues? And not even the Tyreek Hill issues, because I don't know if it's necessarily Tyreek creating these issues, but geez, why can't it just be left alone? Why can't we just leave it alone? Oh. But anyway, folks, how's everybody doing this morning? Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Sorry I'm running a little bit late. Listen, I have such a bad sleep schedule. I ain't gonna lie. I dozed off in my chair. Ooh, yeah, that's what happened. But I apologize. Elwood, good morning. Michael, good morning. Miller, good morning. Bonnie, good morning. Michael K, good morning. Snap-on guy is here. I will be back to troll in a few minutes. We will see you then, Michael K. Good morning, good morning, good morning. But yeah, you see the title. Obviously, the Commanders and Terry McLaurin are going through their situation. Now it seems like every day I wake up to news from the media talking about the Tyreek Hill issue still. Listen, the Tyreek issue is from, they keep bringing up the issue post game week 18 from last year. Like, let it rest. It's like these guys want an issue. They want news coming out of Miami that it's not working between Tyreek Hill and the Miami Dolphins. And it's just nerve-wracking. It's just nerve-wracking. You can call Tua a good leader for calling out Tyreek to the public. I personally didn't overly like that move. I thought, keep things in-house. If you got things to say to Tyreek, it don't got to be said to the media. Tyreek had a press conference where he said that, the things that Tua said he wasn't wrong about. He's the leader of the team. That Tyreek has to do stuff to fix his standing with this organization, which I respect. And then it's like they set Tyreek up for failure, though. It's like they set Tyreek up for failure. What's the issues on third down? And Tyreek speaks his mind. Take Devon Achane out the game. You know what I mean? How do you fix the third down issues? Take Devon out the game. And obviously, that's going to create a buzz. That's going to create a stir because you're blaming the third down issues on a player. But let's be real. I mean, that is some of our third down issues. Devon Achane is not a third down back. He's not a third and short back. He is a shifty back. He is a speed back. He is an undersized back, but he is not a power back that you want to put on the field to go and get you 1 yard when you need a yard. He's not that back. And Tyreek was just being honest. And then Mike McDaniel's press conference, of course, the media brings it up what Tyreek said. And, it kind of feels like Mike McDaniel might have slighted Tyreek a bit. And we need to put this to bed. We need to stop. The press needs to stop. They need to give it a rest. Leave Tyreek alone. Leave the Miami Dolphins alone. Let us get to this season at full strength and let us play football. And Bonnie, it wasn't wrong. You know what I mean? It wasn't wrong. So Tyreek shouldn't even be criticized about it. And he says it to Devon's face. You know what I mean? He says it to Achane's face. You know what I mean? And he jokes around about it. He's like, I love Achane. You know what I mean? But it's true. You ain't a big back, brother. You know what I mean? That's not your role. That's not your role. And then I keep seeing this. Terry McLaurin and the Washington Commanders, they can't work out a deal. Terry McLaurin has asked for a trade. Of course, they're putting, everybody wants to, who else wants out of Miami is Tyreek Hill. And they're assuming Tyreek wants out of Miami because he made a stupid comment at the most emotional time of his career. You know what I mean? And Tyreek did say he wanted out. He did say he wanted out after week 18. But listen, he was stressed out going through the most emotional time of his career when he made those comments. Everything Tyreek said since that moment has said that he wants to be in Miami. Whether he truly does, who knows? Do I think at this point Tyreek would rather be in Kansas City? Sure. But I don't know that Tyreek would rather be in Washington than Miami. You know what I mean? I think there might be only that one team that Tyreek would rather be with, and that's the Kansas City Chiefs. And I understand why. I understand why. Miller says they bait Tyreek. Miami media just wants him to crash out for clicks. KC media didn't treat him like this. I agree, Miller. I agree. Would you trade for Jawan Taylor since Austin Jackson can't stay healthy? Timothy, I would do whatever needs to be done to improve this team. Again, I said this on CB83, PHINS Take with CB83. I said this on his show. We got a lot of talent on this football team. A lot of talent. But we have yet to go all in. We have yet to make sure that we clog every possible hole. And I would just love to be able to do that for once. I would love to be able to do that. They know we have an issue at corner. So go make a trade for a corner. It drives me nuts that we didn't make a higher offer to Jair Alexander. And people can say, well, he was going to Baltimore regardless. Listen, if you offer Jair Alexander double what Baltimore did, and we're only talking about $8 million, and I think Jair Alexander is worth every penny of $8 million. If you would have offered Jair double what Baltimore did, he would have been signing with Miami. He would have been signing with Miami. The fact that they continue to let guys creep past us, there's not going to be another player the magnitude of Jair Alexander available, and we let him just go. Calais Campbell. There's no reason the Miami Dolphins did not re-sign Calais Campbell. None. Zero. Zilch. There's no reason that we have no depth upon this offensive line. Why can't we do these few things? And it's not things that are breaking the bank. I'm not asking you to sign no long-term deals. I'm not asking you to pay an extreme amount of money for some players. Just do the simple things that need to be done. It reminds me of this football team on the field against the elite talent. The Miami Dolphins front office just does not do enough to make sure to guarantee the best they can that we can win football games. On the field, we don't do the 1-2 little things that could put us over the hump to win football games against elite talent. We don't get beat and blown out by elite talent on the football field typically. Yeah, there's a couple games in Buffalo. There's a game in Baltimore that we got blown out. We got our doors kicked off. We got our butts whooped. But typically, we're in the games that we lose against elite teams. We're in those games, and you can point out the one or two plays that really cost us the game. You know what I mean? Michael Lombardo says Colin's talking shit about the Dolphins. Hater. Listen, I'm so sick of Colin Collard, Mike Florio, Sims. Those guys do nothing but bash the Miami Dolphins. Mike Florio is a complete joke. I wouldn't spit on the guy if he was on fire. Literally. If I had to piss, I wouldn't piss on him to put him out. He is a piece of garbage. All he does is bash the Dolphins. He probably doesn't have an athletic bone in his body. He's just one of those guys that sits there and criticizes everybody else. And it doesn't even seem like he's not a Miami reporter, which is crazy to me because he always got Miami in his mouth. They don't have every reason to say what they do, Michael K. That's an awful trade if Washington does it to get an old Tyreek Hill that have 2.5 decent years left in him. That even a bad trade for Miami, you guys get a 30-year-old wide receiver back. Listen, I agree. I agree. But we'll get into that in a second. Listen, Brian Flores, I don't know if you can say he was a better coach than Mike McDaniel, to be honest. Look what he did to a young Tua Tagovailoa's confidence. Now, Mike McDaniel, like, Flores was a good defensive coach. Brian Flores was a no nonsense coach. But let's not fake the funk on the damage that Brian Flores did here also. He was unable to make it work with Minkah Fitzpatrick, so we have to trade Minkah to the Steelers. For what? So you seen how well Minkah performed for Pittsburgh. He traded an all-pro type safety away because he didn't want to listen to the player. Stop the cap. Flores has a higher win percentage than McDaniel. Does he? Does he? Are you sure that he does? Bonnie says, I was listening to T-Stud this morning, and he was training camp last weekend, and he said this team is different this year in a really good way. That's great. That's great, Bonnie. Edward, another Greer side, another player that hasn't played in the league in multiple years. Congratulations. Jesus. Jeez. Listen, Colin Cowherd is rarely right about anything. Mike Florio, same thing. Chris Sims, joke. These guys are jokes. And I don't understand why they just always got Miami in their mouth. I just don't get it. TD made no sense last night. Hey, he makes certain points. You know what I mean? I agree on some things that TD says. I just don't agree with all of the things TD says. All the people, Michael K, stop it. Stop it. Because, Michael K, if you can't ever admit you got to be able to admit some things when it comes to the Miami Dolphins, or you become untrustworthy in your knowledge of the game of football. Like, I get the trolling part, but at some point, if you can't ever be like, yeah, the Dolphins are good in this aspect, or the Dolphins are okay in this aspect, you become less reliable as a source of real football knowledge. Excuse me, I have to find my cup and I ain't got no pants on. You got to be able to give more credit than just the receivers, Michael K. Come on, the team is better than just the receivers. You just bashed the Dolphins completely. Miller Flores has no ability to make game adjustments. Stop it. Michael Lombardo says, you're right, Big C. I stopped watching both of them. McDaniel inherited a 10-win team. Flo has been thrown under the bus by this organization and by Tua, and honestly, Flores was right. 1 healthy season out of 5. That wasn't Flores' thing. Flores wasn't like he's the injuries. He said Tua couldn't play, and he was wrong about that. Oh, let's not forget about the guy snitching on our organization, too. You know what I mean? Like, give me a break. People that bash, you know what I mean? Like, he was working for the feds. Dude working for the feds. So again, should the Miami Dolphins trade Tyreek Hill? Should the Miami Dolphins figure out and find a trade partner for Tyreek Hill? That's the question, right? And the way I see it, yeah, the Miami Dolphins could save a bunch of cap. I'm not exactly sure on the dollar amount. I think it's around $15 million. What does that do to this team, though? What does this do to this team? Who is your number 2 receiver? Obviously, you got made Jalen Waddle your number 1. But this team becomes way less dangerous. The fear of the passing game is gone. Absolutely gone. Tyreek is this offense. Tyreek is the fear. He's the one that makes defenses scared to play Miami man to man. It just does not make sense to me. Even next year when Miami has that big cap hit with Tyreek Hill, if this team is still, is this guy still a good player and we still are running it back with Tua and Mike McDaniel and Chris Greer, I would figure out a way to rework the deal and give him some more, maybe another year. Give him some guaranteed money, rework the deal. Glenn, I don't think he was talking about Tyreek as a top 15. I think he was talking about Terry McLaurin. Again, Tyreek makes this offense run. If we can run the football with Tyreek and we have Tyreek Hill on this team, this football team is dangerous. Very, very dangerous. And I think we have an opportunity to see what this offense can be with a good offensive line this year. Again, Patrick Paul is exceeding expectations in year 2. So far, he's been dominant in camp. Jonas Savanea, I think he's going to be an upgrade regardless of what he truly is his rookie year. I think he's an upgrade over Liam Eichenberg, Robert Jones, regardless. You got Brewer back. He was a top 10 center last year. James Daniels has been fantastic in camp so far. He's one of the NFL's top guards when healthy. A huge upgrade over Robert Jones or Liam Eichenberg. And then you got hopefully Austin Jackson. Now, Austin Jackson last year dealing with injuries, this year so far dealing with injuries. And let's be real, even before the injury, he wasn't playing that well in camp. But this offensive line should be improved. We should be able to run the ball at least better than last year. And hopefully that opens up the passing game. I know that it will open up the passing game. But this offense, it loses that dynamic effect without Tyreek Hill on it. And Joe, I know that you're saying that Terry McLaurin was ranked higher than Tua in this category, in this category, in this category. Terry McLaurin's not even the same realm as Tyreek Hill. Terry McLaurin is a good receiver, don't get me wrong. But Terry McLaurin is not even in the same conversation as Tyreek Hill. Let's bring up the stats. Terry McLaurin last year. Let me take off the banner. $82 catches on 117 targets, 1,000 yards, 13 touchdowns. Listen, the guy's a good receiver. He's a good receiver. But that's the second best season of his career, arguably the best year of his career. That is the best year of his career. All around, that's the best year of his career. 13 touchdowns, 82 receptions for 1,096 yards. Minus the touchdowns, that is a average, below average season for Tyreek Hill. Terry McLaurin's a little bit younger. He's going to be 30. Tyreek's 31. Tyreek Hill stats. Tyreek had 81 catches for 959 yards and 6 touchdowns with a broken freaking wrist. Tyreek's got 82 career touchdowns. Terry McLaurin, 38. Now Tyreek has been in the league an extra 3 years, but 82 to 38, that's a big difference. So, Joe, you think Tyreek is on the same? You think he's the same type of player as Tyreek Hill? Because I don't. Not to mention, if you were to make that trade, you got to pay Terry McLaurin long term. And I don't know if I'm willing to give a receiver that's 30 going on 30, going to be 30, a multi-year $120 million contract. You'd have to give him a long-term contract, 3-4 year deal. Now you're paying the guy $30 million at the age of 33. And I just don't think that's a smart move on the Miami Dolphins. I'm saying our commitment to Hill is what bites us in the end. The offense has to run through him to get those stats, but gets us nowhere. Joe, you can't blame us running the offense through Tyreek on the reason that we don't get anywhere. I mean, everybody has a different reason why we don't get to where we need to be. And it's a little bit of each of those things. You know what I mean? Do we force feed Tyreek Hill too much? Yes. But is it smart to get the hands into Tyreek Hill, the ball into Tyreek Hill's hands? Yes. Could we run more? Yes. Could we get it into Jalen Waddle's hands more? Yes. Could our quarterback stay healthy? Yes. Could our quarterback play better in big games? Yes. Could our defense not get some sacks and some turnovers? Yes. You know what I mean? So then you got to make adjustments as the coach. And Joe, I think if we were good teams beat us because of simple, stupid mistakes, a drop pass here, a missed opportunity there, a fumble in a crucial moment. The offense gets scrambled because we can't run. And yeah, after we can't run the football, Tyreek is the number one option. And if they take Tyreek away from us, yeah, this offense is bad. But if you're able to run the football, Tyreek's replacement isn't already on the roster. Malik's not in the same conversation as Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. That's not the same thing. If you think this offense is going to be even remotely near the same without Tyreek Hill on it, you're mistaken. So the force-fed stats shouldn't be glorified like this. Get the guy that has insane stats on a better volume. And I think they will. I think they will this year, Joe. I think they will. Let's see again. Banners. Take the banner away. I mean, the guy had 1,800 yards. Yeah, there was 171 targets, but he made 119 catches. You get the ball in his hands and he's doing good things with the ball though, Joe. It's not like we're force feeding him to the point where, he's getting 1-2 catches or 1-2 yards a catch. That we're just getting him the ball to get him the ball. He does fantastic things when you get the ball in his hands. Monterey Baldwin has the speed to stretch. No balance. But Joe, it's because we haven't been built properly, though. Right? We haven't been built properly. We haven't been able to. We haven't built the offensive line up. We ignored it completely last year. We ignored the offensive line last year. All the fans were calling for it. And you remember Chris Greer's famous words, you guys are more worried about it than what we are. And look how it turned out. In 2023, we're able to run the ball. That opens up the passing game. We were the number one offense in all of football. Up until that Baltimore game, we were in it to we were vying for the number one seed in all the AFC. Yeah, we did get Patrick Paul last year, but we ignored the fact that we had two bum ass guards. Exactly, Miller. In 2023, Tyreek had 1,700 and Waddle had 15. We were good. It's our inability that run the ball that makes this offense stagnant. That's the problem. And Joe, I'm not disagreeing on that. If we have the opportunity to move Tyreek before his talent drops, we should do it. Joe, again, you got to give Terry McLaurin a long-term contract. Terry has shown no sign of slowing down yet. Tyreek has. Tyreek slowing down is Terry McLaurin's good year, the best year of his career. A poor year by Tyreek Hill with an injured wrist is a good year for Terry McLaurin. Who's ignoring 2024? Tyreek Hill had a wrist injury that he's going to miss the whole season from. His starting quarterback missed 6 games. How many did Washington's quarterback miss? So you're basing Tyreek's drop off on a season where he had a serious wrist injury that could have kept him out the whole year, and his quarterback missed 6 games, and we had no viable backup quarterback. Again, why are we saying Tyreek Hill is not the same player he was? Because he had a wrist injury that could have kept him out the whole year that he played through. I don't understand why we're saying he's coming. Besides last year where he was injured the whole season, he's coming off back-to-back 1,800-yard seasons, 190 catch seasons. And we're saying he's not the player he used to be. I don't understand it. Now, if exactly why move him now? I wouldn't move Tyreek. I wouldn't. This team needs him too much. Tyreek Hill will be a top 5 receiver in this league this year, if healthy. If Tua's healthy, Tyreek Hill will be a top 5 receiver this year. I agree, Glenn. But that wrist injury was a huge issue too, Glenn. Finn Posse, brother. Finn Posse is the one I want you to watch. I appreciate you. I watched one injury season. The 2 seasons before that, he was a top 5 receiver. He was the number 1 receiver. He was the number 1 player in all the NFL, actually. Philly, man, I don't know what you're watching. I don't believe that. I don't know what makes you think that he lost a step. Thank you, FinSpin. I appreciate it. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Put on the notifications. Sometimes be running a little bit late, you know. But regardless, I don't see a world where it makes sense for the Miami Dolphins to trade for Terry McLaurin. I just don't see it. Terry McLaurin is 30-year-old wide receiver that his best season is at 80 catches, just over 1,000 yards. Yeah, he had 13 touchdowns this year. Good for him. He is not in the same stratosphere as Tyreek Hill. Not to mention, you'd have to give him a long-term deal. An aging receiver with a long-term deal is not it. Terry has better hands. That could be true. Let's see. He caught 82 out of 117 passes, which means 35 out of 117 passes he missed. He caught 80 out of 132. That's 50 passes. I don't know if he's got better hands. Let's say the percentage. 79 out of 132. Or 119 out of 171. I'll take the 119 out of 171 if I'm pretty sure that's a better percentage. Terry makes a lot out of little. It's who I want if Tua is down. Tyreek is literally the biggest playmaker in the game of football. No, Richard. I mean, I've seen a lot of I've seen I don't know if there's been discussions, but a lot of news outlets have suggested Tyreek Hill for Terry McLaurin. So I don't know if there's any real truth behind it, but I know that there's a lot of news outlets that have suggested it. What up, Sean? And Bonnie, I just wish the media would leave things alone. Like, leave things alone. Leave this team alone. The more they probe at us, the more they pick at us, I just think it's going to lead to bad things, right? Brian Flores was also a big Deshaun Watson fan and wanted to trade the kitchen sink for him. That's true, Edward. That's true. People forget about that. I wouldn't take it serious at 95% chance, just rumors. I think you'd have to be a complete idiot to make that trade. And again, I don't think Miami's in the business of giving aging players long-term contracts. Yeah, I understand they just did it with Zach Sealer. But Zach Sealer was one of their own guys. You know what I mean? Octate says this is his last year as a Fin unless we completely breaks off another 1,800-yard season. If him and Waddle get over 15 each, any type of trade is possible. That's true. About the only three receivers I'd trade Tyreek for would be DK, JSN, and Mike Evans, but that's not realistic for any of them. That's just the type of caliber player. I wouldn't trade. I don't know. Richard said, like I said yesterday, roll with who you got. I agree. Clifton Ulster said, Tyler Huntley is the sixth quarterback in Cleveland. I know. What's going on in Cleveland? Why do they need so many quarterbacks? Zach only had 2 good years. Bad deal, in my opinion. I mean, they had a choice with Zealer, Glenn. I mean, he had 2 years left on his contract. There's nothing he could have really done. I like this roster. I think after next draft, we could really have a good team if we pick the right players next year. I agree, Octane. Yeah, I think so, because the long snapper was for the longest. Maybe Jason Sanders. How long has Jason Sanders been on the team? The Dolphins offense was figured out, and Tuna isn't smart enough or talented enough to run it differently. I don't think they were figured out. They just weren't able to run the ball. And if you can't run the ball, you're shit out of luck. You can't run your offense efficiently. What up, Frozen Fin fan? Only receiver I'm focused on the draft is 2 years ago, Jeremiah Smith from Ohio State. Play him with Waddle. That would be special. Cleveland definitely a top 5 worst NFL franchise. Yeah, I mean, I can't argue with that. How many times can you get something wrong, especially with all the first round picks? Terry adds leadership and toughness. Now, Aqua, he might add that. But again, what to trade Tyreek Hill and to have to give this guy a long-term contract is just not, that's not what's best for these Miami Dolphins. I'd rather trade him to Kansas City and get a first-round pick than to trade him for an aging wide receiver. Terry McLaurin does not make this team better. So if we're not getting better and we're just going to get worse, let me get the picks. $22 in the room, 12 likes. Come on, fellas, hit that like button. Yeah, hit that like button for me, please. Michael K. really worried about Miami this year. Is why he comes here every day. Lucky to get a 4th-round pick for Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is literally better than everybody on your team besides your quarterback. Literally better than everybody on your team except your quarterback. If you got Terry McLaurin, he'd be number 2, not a receiver, not a number 1. That's true. Yeah, Philly, I don't know why the people in this chat are so willing to trade Tyreek for Terry, but that, you know what I mean? There you go. That nobody on your team's worth of no. So Michael K, nobody on your football team is worth more than a 4th-round pick to you? I don't even care about the draft value with Terry McLaurin. It's not a smart move to trade for an aging receiver that you got to give a huge contract to. It's just not smart. It's just not smart. Frozen Fin fan says trading Reek this year equals mistake. I agree, brother. The key is what the Bills' record going to be this year. The Bills won the Super Bowl. Did Buffalo win the Super Bowl? What if it was for Terry and Laramie? Yeah, I'd pull the trigger on that. If it was for Laramie Tunsil and Terry McLaurin, yeah, I'm pulling the trigger. You put Laramie Tunsil at left tackle or right tackle, we have a top 5 offensive line. That's a top 5 offensive line. I would do that. The Bills' record was lost in the playoffs again. Get real. Listen, playoff games aren't what you get a trophy for that? You get a trophy, Michael K. Is that a championship? Michael K, do you get a trophy for a playoff win? The only thing you get is a later pick in the draft. That's the only thing the Buffalo Bills get for finishing better than the Miami Dolphins is a later pick in the draft. Because you're not getting no trophies. Miller says Terry isn't even as good as Waddle, so it's a no-go for me. But would you do it for Terry McLaurin and Laramie Tunsil? Glenn says, what is worse, making playoffs and not winning playoff game, or being one of the best teams in the last 5 years and not winning a Super Bowl? Miami fans need to watch all 3 games he went against the Eagles and see how he got shut down by 2 Eagles rookies and see if you guys still want him. I know that I don't want him. I know that it's a hard no for me. Again, the only way that I see it being acceptable to trade Tyreek Hill is if we're rebuilding, as if we're tearing it down completely. That's the only way that I'm okay with trading Tyreek Hill. Because I don't see any trade that is going to make us better than what we are with Tyreek Hill on this team. Finspin says, I don't think they will make any more moves until roster starts shaking out. All the free agents left are crap. Yeah, I'm not a fan of who the free. I mean, there's a couple of free agent offensive linemen I wouldn't mind. But as far as the cornerback position, I'm not sold on any of those guys. I just hate the fact that they leave our team alone. Mike Florio, Chris Sims, Colin Collard, find some other team to talk about. Stop talking about Tyreek. Because if you keep poking at the bear, eventually the bear's going to do something stupid. And I don't trust Tyreek enough not to say something retarded. And I know that's a terrible spot to be in. And I know you don't necessarily want those players on your team. But damn, Tyreek is so talented. He's so dynamic that he gives that Dolphins offense. He's what makes this Dolphin offense be special. Michael K says, obviously not winning a playoff game. It's harder to win a Super Bowl in a playoff game. Can't wait for a post Tyreek and post Tua Dolphins. This area was a bunch of fool's gold. Joe, be careful what you wish for, brother. Because the years leading up to Tyreek Hill and Tua Tagovailoa, those were some bad years, brother. Those were some bad years. Think about all those years where you went into the season, a whole season, knowing you had absolutely no shot. I would rather go into a season excited with the hope that maybe we can win than no hope at all. So maybe it has been fool's gold, but you know what I mean? I think Tyreek is going to get you. Hey. He ain't going to get none over here pregnant, brother. Like, I think you're dismissive. I think you're being a little dismissive of what he's done here, though. I mean, 3 years here and the man's top 7 in all wide receiver stats for the franchise. Well, Dean, good thing you're not the general manager then, brother. When your best season is 80 catches and 1,000 yards, you want to trade a top 5 wide receiver for that? And if we have a losing record by the deadline, by all means. Like I said, if we were going to tear the team down, if we were tearing the team down and rebuilding, I'm cool with it. But don't make a move that's going to hurt this team without there being anything beneficial to come from it. Terry McLaurin is not beneficial. Again, a receiver that is going to be 30 years old, giving him $27 to $30 million a year on a 4-year deal is not what's best for this team. It's just not. So Terry McLaurin won the playoff games by himself. Tyreek Hill loses the playoff games by himself. Tyreek Hill's won the Super Bowl. Man, I disagree, Dean. I don't think, and you could go back to week 18 in the meaningless game, but name one instance besides that where Tyreek's attitude has hurt this team on the field. Exactly. That's why when everybody tries to blame Tua for all the problems or Tyreek for all the problems, or it's just not realistic. It's a little bit of each. Now, was there certain games that Tua cost his football team? Yes. Is there certain games that Tyreek has cost his team? Yes. Tyreek's cost us a couple times in very important games. Against Philadelphia a couple years ago, Tyreek cost us dropping a touchdown. Not to mention the refs were so very biased in that game. That Philadelphia game, I don't know if y'all remember, that was the worst officiated game I had ever seen in my life. The worst officiated game I've ever seen. Benefiting the Philadelphia Eagles. That was the worst. Are you serious? So tell me, against Kansas City, his attitude, his play cost us for sure, but his attitude. Absolutely frozen. Absolutely. There's been plays where there's been games where Tyreek has cost us the game, but his attitude, I don't know if his attitude has cost us games. Aquavit, absolutely, and I called those two, right? Hill getting pulled over by the cops before opening day and then scoring the game-winning 80-yard touchdown right after. Right, Dean? Right, Dean? You talking about that opening day? With a broken freaking wrist. I mean, to each their own. Everybody's going to see this team differently. I mean, I think the cops were a little extreme pulling him out the car like that. You don't? Regardless, he had a wrist injury that could have kept him out for the season. You're right. It wasn't broken. Yeah, just some torn ligaments. Listen, Tyreek has done great things for the Miami Dolphins. Again, he's human. He has cost us a couple crucial games. That game in Philly, he absolutely cost us. The game in Kansas City, the Kansas City game in Germany, he absolutely cost us. But he is a very, very good player. Beautifully said, Frozen Fins fan. He made his mistakes and had one instance of attitude on the field hurting us. He admitted it was a mistake, and I truly believe he was trying to make it right. Dang, went up. Where'd it go? And I truly believe he's trying to make that right with the team. As a fan, I got to let it go. Thank you. Thank you. Philly says, I don't know how old your community is, but some of them might be under 30 with how quick they want to get rid of Tyreek Hill. Don't they know if they want to go back to the early 2000s? Listen, I'm trying to tell you, from 2000, 2003 to 2019, this team was in shambles. Again, I don't know how much disruption he caused in the locker room, though, bro. Like, he has issues in his personal life, but why? I think Terry McLaurin's a good receiver. I just don't think he's not a $30 million number one guy to me. You're going to have to pay him $30 million a year at 30 years old to come here and be our number two receiver. I don't think he's a bad receiver. I just don't want to pay someone that's 30 years old $30 million to be a number two. To get me 80 catches and 1,000 yards and 6 touchdowns. Glenn, the grass is always greener on the other side. That's what I've learned. Everybody thinks the grass is always greener on the other side. Tyreek won't get the respect he deserves. He's the best wide receiver, not named Mark Clayton. Dean, he's 29, yes, which means he'll be 30. And you're going to have to give him a 3 or 4 year deal. Terry McLaurin.
Here are some matching news articles.
He'll be 30 years old right after the season starts. He's 30. If the grass is greener on the other side, take care of your own grass, Van Ginkel. Yeah, someone told me that. Was it you that told me that comment the other day? That was a very good comment. He won't be here next year. There's a good chance that he's not here, Dean. But then I think you can go get a young receiver, a rookie receiver that can produce 80 catches, 1,000 yards, and 6 touchdowns that you don't got to pay $30 million a year. I prefer that. Dean. You don't need to pay someone $30 million a year for 80 catches on 1,000 yards. You just don't. Do both of the Eagles wide receivers miss like 4 games and the Eagles is like a dominant, mainly one team, and they still put up better numbers? Do both Eagles wide receivers miss like 4 games? Michael Lombardo, yeah, that Philly game where they didn't have not one penalty, even though there was a clear pass interference call. It was a blatant pass interference call that they just did not call. They robbed us on that. Oh, Dean, you're absolutely right about that. We need some offensive line depth, possibly a starting right tackle, and we need a starting caliber corner. And I'd feel a lot better about this football team right now. Austin Jackson is always hurt. Well, they're saying he should be ready to go for the season, the start of the season, but he gets me nervous because he wasn't practicing very well before that. Joe Riss says it's the year of the duck. Let's hope so. But we still need someone on the other side of the duck. And more injuries are bound to happen, brother. So I still would like to see us go get another starting caliber corner. And then I'd be all right. I think Jack Jones, Mike Hilton. I'm not sure if Cam Smith makes this football team. I think the Miami Dolphins are about fed up with him. You'll never know if the grass is greener if you don't look. This is the Dolphins. Tannehill and Gase, now Tua and McDaniel, just need not commit 5+ years in the front office. Bonner and Duck Law Firm. Yeah, I mean, if Ethan Bonner could do something besides in training camp. Oh, great. Well, then it looks like we're looking at Keon Smith or Larry Borom, which isn't very promising. Again, I think they'll add some more pieces when teams cut down to their final 52. After week 2, you can sign veterans and you ain't got to worry about guaranteed money and stuff. So I think more moves are going to be on the horizon. I do think the Miami Dolphins have they got a favorable beginning schedule, right? Right? They got a favorable schedule at the beginning of the year. If the Miami Dolphins before week 8 can produce a winning record, right? Put themselves in a good position, right? Do you see the Miami Dolphins making a trade at the deadline to bring somebody in? Going to get a veteran and bringing them in to solidify that cornerback room? Hilton is a good slot cornerback. When he was on the Bengals, he tackled Josh Allen a few times in that playoff game in Buffalo. Yeah, listen, Hilton is a beast as far as slot corners coming, as far as his tackling, as far as getting after the quarterback, as far as his run defense. Mike Hilton is a beast. And he's decent in coverage. He's not great, but he's decent in coverage. I don't think the Dolphins sign anyone if backup right tackle does okay versus Bears, in my opinion. Oh, I mean, we shall see. I think they, at the very least, they need to add some more depth. I think at the very least. But my consensus is there's no possible way you trade Tyreek Hill, and there's definitely no way you trade Tyreek Hill for Terry McLaurin. Now, Terry McLaurin is a good player. Don't get me wrong. He's a good player. He's just not in the same realm as Tyreek Hill. And I don't think that the Miami Dolphins are in a position to go give a 30-year-old wide receiver a multi-year $30+ million deal a year. It's not smart business. It's not smart business. Finspin says at least Jalen Phillips was back today. Yeah, I would like to see them give Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips. I don't want to see them guys out there every day. I don't want to see them guys on the practice field every day. Keep them fresh. Keep them healthy. They don't need to be out there every day. Give the snaps to Chop. Give the snaps to the young boys. Mo Camara. Give those guys extra snaps. Well, that's good, Bonnie. Bonnie said T-Stead said he worked with Larry Borum last weekend at training camp, and the next day he played much better. Dean Smith said there are a few good right tackles in the 2026 NFL draft, starting with the kid from the Hurricanes. Well, that's definitely a positive look. Any juicy news, Joe, out of camp? Big C Terry actually knows the game playbook. Well, I mean, he doesn't know the playbook here. And honestly, I think that's him being a troll, brother. I think that's Tyreek being a troll more than anything. Sealer orange jersey, duck and chop showed out. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Who's the best player on our roster you are willing to trade for a good, great starter? The deep balls were raining. Tua hit 2 of them and missed 2 of them. The completions were 50-yard scoring strikes. One the Reek, one the Malik Washington. The Reek one was wide open. Well, that was one major concern, is that there was no deep passes thrown throughout training camp so far. The 2 misses were to Tyreek, who was getting open down deep frequently. One ball was long, one was short. Ewers hit Theo Wise for a 25-yard touchdown on a nice little double move and well-placed touch pass. Well, at least it says the 2 misses were to Tyreek. One was long and one was short. At least they weren't both short, right? At least they weren't both short, right? Terry runs a 4.35. Yeah, I didn't say Terry short. Terry's not slow. I didn't say he was slow. I know what he runs. I looked it up. Chop Robinson continues doing his thing. He shut down the entire Zach Wilson-led 2-minute attack with 2 sacks. Listen, I don't want to be the one to say that I called it first. I don't want to sound like another popular podcaster, but I truly believe Chop Robinson going to have 12, 15 sacks this year. I truly believe it. And I want to be the one that said I said it first. There was a red zone period where all 3 quarterbacks had to throw away and eat multiple plays. I think that was an indicative of the defensive staff's emphasis on playing on a string in the back end. That's beautiful. Omar thinks Cam Smith goes on IR. If Austin Jackson shows up with a walking stick and a man purse. We can call him Armstead Jr. Oh, man. I don't want to call anyone a casual. Already got blocked once. Well, you want to call me a casual again? Devon Achang just keeps getting better as a route runner. He had a couple today where I had to check to make sure it wasn't one of the wideouts. That's great. Willie Gay Jr. is doing in camp. Jalen Wright had a pair of touchdown runs in the 10 to 12 yard range. Really nice vertical acceleration off a one cut and wiggled through the secondary. 15 sacks is laughable. Listen, how does that make someone casual, though? And I don't see how it's laughable. And I said 12 to 15. Yeah, Willie Gay Jr. is getting a starting spot. Dotson's going to the bench. Without question. Tanner Connor caught another handful of passes, including a nice rip from Tua up the sideline that went for about 15. Could have been a 25-yard touchdown if he could have made the safety miss in open space. Zach Sealer signs a mega extension yesterday, gets the orange jersey today, and keeps on dominating. I had him for 1 sack and an assist on another. Yeah, this front seven, maybe. I'm super excited for these guys. This front seven. Again, that's why we don't need superstars at the corner position. We just need guys that can stay with their guys for a few seconds, allow our pass rushers to get in there and do their job. We got, hopefully Weaver comes up with the proper defensive scheme that doesn't allow these guys to pick the secondary and just sit down and be wide open and just catch passes after pass after pass down the field. Jordan Phillips, one of my favorite draft picks. Jordan Phillips' power is undeniable every few reps. I imagine it when the technique is just right. He gets knocked back and really jumps out at you. Did it twice in team today. Yeah, Jordan Phillips, he's got a wrestling background, powerlifting background. That kid someday is going to be special. Trust me. Michael Case had 12 to 15 sacks. You are one putting Chump in the same league as Garrett, Parsons, and Watt. I mean, if that's what he gets, that's what he gets, brother. You know what I mean? I just think the scenario where opposing teams' offenses are going to have other things to focus on besides Chop Robinson. Chop Robinson is so quick off the snap that he's just gonna overwhelm opposing teams' offenses. And you're not gonna know if it's Chop coming, if it's Phillips coming, or if it's Chubb coming. You gotta worry about Sealer coming from up the middle. Like, I think they're gonna line Chop up all over the field, and he's gonna have an opportunity to get a lot of sacks. He's gonna have an opportunity to lead the league in sacks. So I am super excited about that. And I understand you being a skeptic. But mark my words. I did see Jonah jump set up Jordan Phillips and give him a good displacement strike. That's been a fun battle to watch. Iron sharpens iron, right? What are you talking about? Stay with their guys. Miami will be in zone most of the time. I that's what I'm saying. I don't want them to run zone all the time. Zone allows them to sit down in between areas. It allows them to find open areas of the field and just sit down and complete passes down the field the whole time. I hate zone. I really do. I hate it. Because if you got veteran receivers, they find the weak spot in the zone. They sit down there, and it's so easy just to pitch and catch all the way down the field. Be lucky to sniff double digits. Yeah, right. Come on, brother. You're not speaking on reality. The kid is fantastic. Few more notes. I won't copy the rest. And sounds like we had the sacks flowing today. That's a good thing. That is Anthony Weaver's bread and butter. Pressure was zone behind. Yeah, but with this, I don't know if Anthony Weaver's ever had this weak of a secondary. Minus Minka. Did he make the top 100? Why are you so concerned with lists? Has there ever been a player not make the top 100 and then the next year he was a high player on it? Has never a player just came out of, you know what I mean, a promising player? I mean, Farrell, what were you asking about Farrell Brown? He is strictly a run blocking tight end. He has no speed. Kenna Rankin, no leave Terry, be him, and Tyreek are the same age, and Tyreek is still more valuable. I agree. Tyreek is definitely way more valuable. Top 100 is a joke. I would not take it too serious. I heard Jalen Hurts, the Super Bowl MVP, not even on it. Who's 6'6"? Oh, Farrell Brown. He has no speed to get open. I bet you the Eagles running back probably not even on the top 5. Saquon's got to be top 2 or 3. NFL top 100 always been a joke. Everybody said Eagles are Super Bowl every year. They always ranked. How many quarterbacks are on the list now? I want to say there's 16, right? There's got to be like 16, 17 quarterbacks. Tyreek is 47 on the top 100. Quite a fall, 1 to 47, right? He gonna have a comeback year this year, though. Comeback. Don't call it a comeback. Crazy mother of a name, Ice Cube. Miller, stop it. Middle of the pack, then confirm. Stop it, Miller. Stop it. Stop it. Blake, what's good, brother? I don't know what some people are thinking, but Weaver's going to leave this defense thumping, and our offense has the potential to be a top 10. A lot of ifs and players needed, but we are solid. Darren Waller. Darren Waller's still trying to get into football shape, as far as I know. No injuries or anything. He wasn't tremendous shape. He's just not in football shape. It's like Teron Armstead right now. Teron Armstead's in fabulous shape, lost a bunch of weight. If we needed him to come back and play left tackle, he's not in position to do that right now. Ramblin' Chef, what's up, brother? What's up? Stainless J, what's up? Tua is number one in our hearts. I wouldn't go that far, but Tua's gonna. I have confidence Tua's gonna do the things he needs to do to remain healthy, and I think Tua's gonna have his best statistical season of his career this year. I really do. I really do. Especially if this offensive line can pan out like we're hearing, the positive things we're hearing from camp. I really think if this offensive line ends up panning out, that Tua has his best stats year of his career. Waller has to get in shape and learn playbook. Said he had to take a knee in the heat just standing there. One day I'm going to catch a live panel and hop in. Yeah, brother. I can let you know tomorrow what day we'll do one. Probably Friday night, 9:30. Friday night, 9:30, if you're available, brother. T-Stad's podcast is very insightful, real insider stuff. Waller trying to get over Kelsey Plums. Let's do it Friday at 9. Friday, 9 p.m. 9:30 p.m. You guys available at that time? And spread the word too. If you guys are available Friday, 9:30 p.m. I'm in the kitchen till about 10:30, but I'll be on the lookout. I can do later. I can do 10:30 if everybody else can do 10:30. 10:30 is all right with me. Or 11. I can do whenever. Waller was on the sideline with T-Stat and said he hasn't been this excited about football in a long time. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. Like I said, we got a very talented team. If we could get just a few more pieces, a couple more depth pieces for the offensive line, and maybe one more starting caliber corner, I'd be very excited about this upcoming season and think that we have a real shot to do some special stuff. But I'm going to get out of here. I appreciate you all. I love you all. Joe, thanks for the insight from camp. I appreciate it. That was awesome. That was great getting the live updates from you. But I'll see y'all tomorrow. Until then, you know what it is. Fins up, baby. Peace.